The Braves have clinched their 7th consecutive postseason appearance, but no time to really think about that. No time to really celebrate that. They get back on the bump, ready to go 8:30 Eastern time against the San Diego Padres. 3-game series. All of the odds are stacked against them, and I don't even think that really does adjust. So they have had 5 games in 4 days. Their bullpen is not fresh. They do not have Chris Sale. They do not have a fresh starter. They are going to probably be starting Bryce Elder or AJ Smith-Shawver. Take your pick. I don't think there's a correct decision. Whatever decision is made, Brian Snitker, if it doesn't work out, is going to get the blame. That's just the unfortunate job of being a manager, but it's frankly a terrible situation. On the flip side, you have a Padres team that's known they've been in the playoffs. They have one of the best records, if not the best record in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break when they were sitting around 500, and they go on to win over 90 games easily going into the postseason. They are fully rested. They have great starting pitching. They have maybe the best bullpen in baseball, and they obviously have a lineup featuring guys like Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, with a lot of star power, not to mention all 3 of these games will be played on the road in San Diego, which outside of maybe Philadelphia is probably the best home field advantage in the sport and probably the best that nobody talks about. That place is hungry for San Diego to finally deliver a winner. They feel like they have a great chance, and they do have a great chance against this Braves team. Odds stacked against you. What you going to do? 3-game series, though. It's baseball. Anything can happen.
Yeah. Petco Park is one of the beauties of any major sport. It's an awesome stadium to look at. I've never been to it, but on TV, it looks absolutely magical. It's going to be an awesome series because I think that one thing you can absolutely expect, even if the Braves do, it's going to be in heartbreaking fashion because these are the heartbreak kids. I mean, if you've learned anything about watching this team, 162 games, I probably watched 145 of them. They are resilient. And they will continue to be such. It's 0-0 start of postseason baseball. Crazy things can happen. And a big difference between this year's team and the past 2 teams prior or after winning the World Series is we are now hungry. We are now counted out. We have been playing postseason baseball for the past month. That is a big difference from the past 2 years. And you can also take some solace in the fact that nobody expects you to win this baseball game. Your own fans don't expect you to win this series. Your own fans probably, most of them expect you to get 2-0, and that's it. That's the season. That's a wrap. So you can take solace in that. You can go out there, nothing to lose. With that being said, I do think there's a right answer of who starts game 1. I just think Bryce Elder, listen, he's nowhere close to being anywhere close to our other 5 starters if everybody was fully healthy. But with that being said, that Phillies blow up that everybody likes to remember, he was cruising there for a little bit. And if sleepy Brian Snitker had just taken him out of the game 2 times through the lineup, we might be having a different conversation. Now, obviously, I think the leash has got to be maybe even shorter, but then you're trying to balance the bullpen, which is depleted, like you mentioned. It's a difficult situation. Maybe Bryce Elder starts, bring in AJ Smith-Shawver. I don't know. Dylan Lee could start this game. I just think Bryce Elder, in terms of, reliability, again, not the most reliable guy, but compared to AJ Smith-Shawver, he is more reliable. You know who he is, though. Don't even let him sniff that lineup for a 3rd time. And honestly, maybe not a 2nd time, depending on how the first time goes.
Yeah, I don't think they're more reliable, and Bryce Elder should be used in the same sentence. Listen, the guy has a 6.52 ERA over 10 MLB starts. He's been shelled over his career against the San Diego Padres. And yes, while he did cruise there for a little bit over the first 2 innings, and Brian Snitker should have pulled him against the Philadelphia Phillies, it's still not a good memory in his memory bank because that's the last time he was in a playoff game, and it was a road playoff game, and it's going to be the same exact environment. But listen, I don't think
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I don't think AJ Smith-Shawver is a great decision either. I don't think they're gonna go a full bullpen game because they are shorthanded on that side of things. So I think you got to get at least something from one of those 2 guys, maybe both of those guys. If you say, I think the most interesting aspect is how does he navigate game 1, because you have 2 guys in Bryce Elder and AJ Smith-Shawver that can kind of piggyback off each other. But I don't necessarily think piggyback is the right direction that you go here, right? Like, let's say Bryce Elder starts this game. He gives you 2 innings. He finds a little trouble in the 3rd. Well, you don't go straight to AJ Smith-Shawver. You go to one of your high levers guys. get you out of the jam, prevent this thing from getting out of hand, and then maybe you go to AJ Smith-Shawver until he gets in trouble. Like, it doesn't just need to be, oh, Bryce Elder, then AJ Smith-Shawver, then we hand it off to the bullpen. There needs to be some unique thinking.
Well, that would be ideal. It would be ideal,
yeah,
but it's probably not going to happen.
There needs to be some unique thinking, because these guys are going to find trouble. They're not studs. And maybe they don't. Listen, maybe they don't. Maybe ideally. Bryce Elder and gives you 5 innings of shutout ball, and we're sitting here like, I mean, listen, Bryce Wilson in the 2020 NLCS against a much better Dodgers lineup went out there and gave us 6 innings of 1-run ball and outdued Clayton Kershaw. So acting like these kind of things can't happen, they can happen. And that's what we need. We need an unsung hero. And the other thing that I need to see tonight, give me one game, Braves offense. Like, if you have Max Fried going in game 2 and you win this game, like, I'm not even expecting, we're going to give up some runs today. I would be shocked if we didn't give up some runs. This is the kind of game where I don't give a crap how bad this Braves offense is. We've obviously seen them play a little bit better over the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. Give me one game where you just put your foot on the gas and go a little nuts. Go out there and give me an 8-run performance. Go out there and win this game for your team and give Max Fried a chance, and then Ronaldo Lopez a chance in game 3. Only needing to win one of those games. This is where I just need to see it only takes one game. Because if you can get to that NLDS, hopefully you get Chris Sale back. Spencer Schwellenbach is sitting there ready for game 1. All of a sudden, you've got horses lined up to go into the road and into a Lion's Den that is Chavez Ravine and Dodgers Park against a team that hasn't played in 5 days. So I like your chances if you can get there. Give me one game right here, Braves offense. That's all I'm asking. One game. One game where you just win the game for the Atlanta Braves and give me 9 or 10 runs. That's all I'm asking. And I know it's a lot to ask, but it only needs to happen one time. And all of a sudden, this really bad situation doesn't look damn nearly as bad.
You go out and punch them in the mouth. The Padres aren't some juggernaut team that's won World Series after gone to the World Series. Most of the time in the postseason, they piss down their legs. So you go out and punch them in the mouth. Do they know how to respond? They're obviously loaded in every facet of the game, so you would probably give them the benefit of the doubt in that. This Braves offense, for the most part, has been very disappointing. But you look at it on paper, it's not that bad. Obviously, you got the Gio Ursulas and Orlando Arcia is an absolute bum. Gio Ursula and Ramon Laureano, by the way, have been absolutely critical to this Braves postseason berth, by the way. But at the top, you still got Mike. You still got Matt Olson. You still got Ozzie Albies. Sean Murphy and Travis d'Arnaud are still capable of putting one in the seats. Like, this Braves offense has been incredibly disappointing for the most part this entire season, but it's still got guys. It's still capable of, like you said, blitzing a pitcher and getting up big. And once you do that, I mean, the weight off of the shoulders of a guy like AJ Smith-Shawver or Bryce Elder, or whoever is on the mound, is immense, and it would help them so much to just jump out to an early lead, giving them a little bit of a cushion. I mean, that's how, going into game 2, needing Max Fried to win, and then in game 3, obviously, is a winner take all. That's obviously probably the most likely path, but golly, if you could steal game 1.
Yeah, I mean, if you steal game 1, I mean, with Max Fried on the bump, you feel like you got a great chance. And then you have Ronaldo Lopez there if you need him. And hey, maybe you don't need him. And maybe Ronaldo Lopez, it lines up there for the NLDS and you got your 3 of your top starters. So, I mean, listen, there's a lot of scenarios. Obviously, you steal game 1, you love your chances. One other thing I want to mention, and it's about those 2 guys. You mentioned Sean Murphy and Travis d'Arnaud. Each one of them could go, are capable of going yard at any moment. I'm interested to see who starts these games, most of these games in the postseason. I mean, Sean Murphy has been a straight up potato, and you can say he's great defensively. I don't think he's that much better than Travis d'Arnaud defensively. Travis d'Arnaud hasn't been exactly great, but he does have a postseason pedigree. He caught every game of the Braves 2021 World Series run, hit a critical home run. He does have a little bit of that clutch gene. Remember that home run he hit in game 2 of the NLDS to get the Braves back into that series. So to me, I don't really see it much of a reason, because you don't really care about these rest days anymore. We're not trying to rest players. Like Travis d'Arnaud is fully capable of catching every single. I don't really see much of a reason for Sean Murphy being out there, other than unless the starting pitcher prefers Sean Murphy. Like, they have a really good connection and they feel like, but I don't know if there's a pitcher on this staff that really feels that way, because Travis d'Arnaud's been here for so long and is well respected by the entire, is well respected by the entire staff. So to me, this is Travis d'Arnaud's postseason. And I know you paid Sean Murphy, and it's kind of disappointing to say that, because I'd love to say the same thing about Sean Murphy. He's been terrible in the box, and you're going to need to score, especially tonight.
Yeah. I think more than tonight, I think you can dictate it on a situational basis. You're obviously, I mean, in my opinion, I think Sean Murphy is infinitely better defensively, mainly because of, the threat of runners. And, obviously if you got a guy like AJ Smith-Shawver or Bryce Elder, blocking is a huge factor in that. Hopefully it wouldn't be, but when you got Max Fried, Travis d'Arnaud's caught more Max Fried games than I think any catcher in Max Fried's career. So obviously, he's going to go with game 2, I assume. So yeah, I think, it's situationally based. Sean Murphy's been absolutely horrible with the stick. But again, Travis d'Arnaud hasn't been, absolutely lights out in the last month or so. I think you kind of just, like you said, defer to the pitcher and whatever he wants, or maybe you go to the splits if they've got a history with the opposing pitcher. I don't know. It's not an easy decision. I'm glad I don't have to make it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of easy decisions. Listen, Brian Snickers.
Easy decision is, pretty much the starting lineup. Other than that,
Brian Snickers is going to have to manage his ass off. I mean, it's going to have to be an absolute work of art for him to. Hey, and listen, he can shut up a lot of people that talk a lot of crap about him if he can go out there and figure out a
World Series run. He pulled every single right string
to maneuver this thing, and I give him a lot of credit for getting him to this point. And if you can get him past this point, especially with everything stacked against him, I mean, you could do nothing other than tip your cap. So I'm interested to see how he handles it. I'm not envious of him though.